Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto-Corner for Wednesday, December 15th, 2021. This is going to be our last show of the year. Got a few things to talk about, so let's get started. Watch Bigfoot filmed in Georgia by Tim Banal. A curious video circulating online shows what appears to be a large bipedal creature lurking in a forest, and some suspect that the strange beast could be Bigfoot. The intriguing footage was posted to Instagram account Cryptid University a few weeks ago, and, as is so often the case with reported Sasquatch videos, very little information is available surrounding the circumstances of the potential sighting, aside from the claim that it was filmed in Georgia at some point this year. Be that as it may, the footage is fairly compelling by virtue of the beast that is briefly seen in the video. In the footage, which can be seen below, a dark and rather sizable form roams around amidst some trees. Although one might suspect that the creature is just a bear, it then slowly stands up seemingly on 2 feet and dashes off into the forest. As one might imagine, many have suggested that the animal could be the legendary Bigfoot by virtue of its apparent bipedal motion and its considerable size. However, not everyone is convinced, as many skeptical viewers have lambasted the video's poor quality, noted the scant backstory, and labeled it a likely hoax. And here is the footage. That's one thing I hate, is when they add the mysterious music in there. Like, oh, this is creepy, this is mysterious, ooh. I would love to have heard the audio just to see if there's any audio to it. Interesting bit of footage, but I don't know. Could be a hoax. It's not a bear, I can tell you that. It's certainly not a bear. But it could be a hoax. That is entirely possible it's a hoax. But who knows? But it really gets us closer to resolving the Sasquatch mystery. It's an interesting bit of footage, and that's all it is. Lauren Coleman has released the list of the best cryptozoology books of 2021. Our annual selections range across the usual cryptids in literature, with familiar Bigfoot populating the landscape as they have in recent years, along with the proliferation of regional titles we have grown to expect. For a change, there are some worthy juvenile titles that have caught our attention as well. The Bigfoot Book of the Year for 2021, Bigfoot of Maine by Michelle Y. Solier. I read this book and I really enjoyed it. It was a good one. I really liked this book. The Regional Cryptozoology Book of the Year, Fantastic Beasts from Legend and Folklore / Mythical Creatures of Maine by Christopher Packard. The Regional Cryptid Series of the Year, Monsters of Big Sky Country, Peach State Monsters, Palmetto State Monsters, and Monsters of the Tar Heel State, all by David Weatherly. Cryptid Book of the Year, American Cryptids in Pursuit of the Elusive Creatures by Kenny W. Irish. Historical Cryptozoology Book of the Year, Monsters in the Anglo-Saxon World / Basilisks and Beowulf by Tim Flight. Bigfoot Newcomer Author of the Year, Evergreen Ape, The Story of Bigfoot by David Norman Lewis. The Best Cryptid Guidebook of the Year, The Essential Guide to the Loch Ness Monster and Other Aquatic Cryptids by Ken Gerhard. I read this one as well. It was a good one. Definitely a good one. Ken followed up his 2019 Bigfoot book with a worthy sequel. Best Contemporary Lake Champlain Monster Book, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, The Search by Katie Elizabeth. Best Cryptozoology Book to Revisit, Bunyips and Bigfoot, updated second edition In Search of Australia's Mystery Animals by Malcolm Smith. The Best Historical Loch Ness Book of the Year, Loch In, Monster Hunting on the Run / Chasing Nessie During the Golden Age of Monster Hunting by Joseph W. Zarzinski. The Best Cryptozoology Book on Cryptozoology Books of 2021, On Books and Beasts, A Cryptozoologist's Library by Matt Beal. The Best Bigfoot Book on Bigfooters for the year, Bigfoot Beyond Belief by Sharon Eby. The Best Bigfoot Historical Book of 2021, The Bluff Creek Project, the Patterson-Gimlin film site, A Journey of Rediscovery by Robert Leiterman. This is one that I want to get a hold of. Extra, Bigfoot 2022 calendar. Best Cryptozoology Juvenile Books of 2021, Mike and Gordy, An Easy Guide to Bigfoot by Jerry Carino. Dr. Jeff Meldum's Relict Hominoid Fun and Learning Activity Workbook, all by Jeff Meldum, illustrated by Slade Delastrode. Yeti Edition. Sasquatch Edition and Almasty Edition. And there are a few good ones coming for 2022. Looks like a good list. And having read a couple of the books on the list, they were very enjoyable, the two books that are on the list that I actually did read. So, good stuff. Then we have this, The Black Panther That Was Seen Roaming the Somerset Countryside. Since the 1960s, there have been numerous accounts of big cats being sighted across the country. Video footage, photographs, and paw prints make the evidence suggesting big cats prowl the English countryside very strong. After all, experts have since admitted that the release of big cats from circuses and private zoos have most probably led to beasts roaming our fields and forests at some point over the past 50 years. Somerset, however, has had its own unique sightings over the past couple of years. Specifically, there was a spike in reports during a 2-week period in February 2020. Danny Bamping is a member of the British Big Cat Society, a group which aims to research, study, and analyze the presence of big cats in Britain. When asked about the possibility of the creatures in the area, he said there have been sightings near Chew Valley Lake, and there was a sighting in Staunton several years ago. The Mendips and general area is a hot spot for big cat sightings. In fact, it was only March this year when the clearest footage yet of a big cat sighting in Somerset emerged, with a couple capturing a video of the beast near Yeovil. Paulton sighting. Back in February 2020, Mrs. Bond, who lives on the outskirts of Paulton, claims she saw a big cat running through her garden. Her son, Derek Bond, helped recollect what happened during the sighting. He said, she heard this noise of something which dropped into the yard behind. She heard a clatter, but then this thing walked by her. It must have been big, as it made thumping sounds on the pavement while it was walking. She fell over backwards as she was surprised at what she saw and lost her balance. She said she doesn't know what it was. According to Mrs. Bond, she described the animal as powerful looking with long legs, had short black hair, and was at least big as a large Alsatian. Stanton Drew sighting. Matthew Emmons claims to have seen something very similar to Mrs. Bond whilst driving in Stanton Drew. Mr. Emmons considers himself very sharp-sighted when it comes to identifying animals of the British countryside. He said, I was driving through Stanton one night with my girlfriend around 11 p.m. at night, and I saw a black cat which was absolutely huge. It was the size of a large dog, however it was very lean and had a glossy black coat. I witnessed it sat next to my girlfriend. It ran across the road and up a grassy bank, then squeezed through a hedge. This cat had a tail as long as its legs and was no way a badger or domestic cat. Referring to Mrs. Bond's claim, he added, I am absolutely convinced this woman has seen the exact same animal. Gurney Slade sighting. Lorry driver Alan Simmons claims to have seen something similar when driving near Gurney Slade. The driver thought he had caught it on a dash cam, but the footage did not show anything, leaving Mr. Simmons with more questions than answers. Mr. Simmons said, I was driving my lorry out of Gurney Slade back to the depot in Chilcompton around 3:30 p.m. in a heavy hailstorm. As I got to the brow of the hill before the Old Down Inn, I clearly saw a large black cat run from the field on my right straight through the hedge, across the road and into the opposite field. It all happened so quick, but I was 100% sure of what I'd seen. We did check the front camera on the lorry, but because of the weather we couldn't quite pick it out, as I may have been just too far back. I think my colleague saw I was having a laugh, but having seen this article about Mrs. Bond's sighting, he pointed out to me, I'm pretty sure they knew I'd seen it. This sighting happened on February 15th, the same day Mrs. Bond claimed to have spied the animal. Timsbury sighting. Sarah Cammett, who lives in St. John's Road in Timsbury, believes she saw a similar animal at around the same time. Whilst struggling to sleep, she got out of her bed to make herself a drink. But as she returned to her bedroom, she looked out of her window and saw a very large animal in her neighbor's front garden. While she failed to get a photo of the mysterious animal, she is now on the lookout for this animal again. Miss Cammett explained, I was not sleeping well, as was up having a cup of tea about 3 a.m. My security light went off as I was going back to bed. I looked out my bedroom window to see a very large animal strolling into my neighbor's front garden. I thought to myself, wow, that looks like a jaguar, as it had a very distinctive long S-shaped tail. I kept on thinking, I wonder what it was, and I just seen the report from Mrs. Bond. I will now keep a lookout and try to get some footage if I should be so lucky to see it again. Could all these sightings be connected? Was there a big cat strolling around Somerset in 2020? So we have a fascinating series of accounts of possible large black cats, black panthers. Is it possible these people are mistaken? Is it possible that they're all lying? I wouldn't think they would all be lying. But then again, people have been known to do some weird things. Still, very fascinating. Finally, an interesting article from Nick Redfern, The Loch Ness Monsters and the Technology of Sonar. Over the years and decades, people have seen the Loch Ness monsters, photographed the mysterious beasts, and took to the water on boats. There is, however, another angle to the mystery of the Nessies. Instead of sonar, I say this because Roland Watson, one of the key figures in the quest to solve the puzzle of the Nessies, has highlighted information on a new sonar-based case. Roland has an excellent blog that reveals all the new data, and new looks at old cases too. With that said, let's see what we can learn about this new case. Over to Roland. I note I had not posted on the Loch Ness Monster since October, having posted twice on her sister in Loch Morar. So I wanted to remark on a sighting report made in the summer at the Loch. Gary Campbell, over at his Loch Ness Sightings Register website, had, last time I looked, registered a total of 13 sightings thus far for 2021. Helpfully, he has split them into two sections, those at the Loch and those via the webcam run by Mikko Takala. The total was 8 webcam and 5 at the Loch. I've already made my views on the webcam reports known before and await better equipment for sightings I move on to, for webcam enthusiasts to use. It is one of the in-situ sightings I move on to. This was a sonar contact from one of those tourist cruise boats that ply their trade on the Loch. The description from Gary's site is brief. 26th of August, Benjamin Scanlon was on holiday with his family and took a trip on the Nessie Hunter of Loch Ness Cruises. He spotted something on the sonar on the boat and caught the image below. Captain Mike of the boat estimated to be 3 or 4 meters in length and a depth about 20 meters, while the boat was in water about 40 meters deep. But what exactly is sonar? How does it work? What are some of the other cases? We'll begin with the science of sonar. The United States government's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, explains sonar, short for sound navigation and ranging, is helpful for exploring and mapping the ocean because sound waves travel farther in the water than do radar and light waves. NOAA scientists primarily use sonar to develop nautical charts, locate underwater hazards to navigation, search for and map objects on the seafloor such as shipwrecks, and map the seafloor itself. There are 2 types of sonar, active and passive. Active sonar transducers emit an acoustic signal or pulse of sound into the water. If an object is in the path of the sound pulse, the sound bounces off the object and returns an echo to the sonar transducer. If the transducer is equipped with the ability to receive signals, it measures the strength of the signal. By determining the time between the emission of the sound pulse and its reception, the transducer can determine the range and orientation of the object. Passive sonar systems are used primarily to detect noise from marine objects such as submarines or ships, and marine mammals like whales. Unlike active sonar, passive sonar does not emit its own signal, which is an advantage for military vessels that do not want to be found or for scientific missions that concentrate on quietly listening to the ocean. Rather, it only detects sound waves coming towards it. Passive sonar cannot measure the range of an object unless it is used in conjunction with other passive listening devices. Multiple passive sonar devices may allow for triangulation of a sound source. Now to the cases of sonar and the Loch Ness monsters. In December 1954, the crew of the Rival 3 fishing vessel had a curious encounter on Loch Ness. None of them caught sight of a Nessie, at least not visually. What they did do, however, was to track on their sonar equipment a large unknown object which shadowed the boat for a distance of around 2,500 feet and at a depth of approximately 480 feet. Precisely what it was never determined. It's worth noting that 1968 was an important year in Nessie history too. That was when Professor D. Gordon Tucker from the University of Birmingham, England, achieved something notable at Loch Ness. He offered his help to the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau, which undertook on-site investigations at Loch Ness and at one point had more than 1,000 members. Specifically, Tucker provided the Nessie hunters with a prototype sonar device that had the ability to sweep underwater to a distance of no less than 2,500 feet. Significantly, when deployed at a below surface level at Urquhart Bay's Temple Pier, The sonar tracked a number of approximately 20-foot long objects traveling from the lower levels of the loch to the higher levels and vice versa. They were never formally identified. Operation Deep Scan was a highly ambitious October 1987 effort to seek out the Nessies with sonar, and which may have just had some degree of success. No less than 24 boats were utilized to scan the depths of Loch Ness with echo-sounding equipment. Some of the presumed anomalies recorded were actually nothing stranger than tree stumps. Others may have been a seal or two which had wandered into the loch. Nevertheless, there was a moment of excitement when something large and unidentified was tracked near Urquhart Bay at roughly 600 feet below the surface. It prompted Darrell Lawrence of Lawrence Electronics, whose echo-sounding equipment was used in Operation Deep Scan, to say, "There's something here that we don't understand, and there's something here that's larger than a fish, or maybe some species that hasn't been detected before. I don't know." So some pretty exciting stuff referring to the Loch Ness Monster. Exciting, equipment being used. That actually was not the final item. The final item is the 2022 Ohio Bigfoot Conference speaker lineup. So far they have Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Cliff Barackman, Matt Moneymaker, Renee Holland, and the MC is Charlie Raymond. They have yet to announce the fifth speaker. But I got my ticket for this event. Hopefully you can get yours on January 8th. Which is when they'll be offering tickets for sale again. But it looks like it's going to be a great lineup. Most of Finding Bigfoot will be there, including Renee Holland. This will be her first time speaking at the OBC. Be her first time appearing at the OBC. So that's pretty exciting. And that is going to do it not only for this week, but for this year. It has been a heck of a year for cryptozoology. And hopefully 2022 will be another heck of a year for cryptozoology. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in all year long, not just every week, but all year long. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I'll continue to do it as long as you guys want me to. And hey, until next year, y'all be good or be good at it. This is May-HBM's Crypto Corner.